Penguin Random House presents Tatalog by Harish Bhatt. Read by Arish Bhiwandiwala. Forward. I am delighted to write a foreword to Tatalog, this wonderful book by Harish Bhatt. The idea of a Tata director writing the foreword to a Tata catalogue's book on Tata might appear somewhat incestuous. So, why am I doing it? I am writing this foreword not merely because Harish asked me to, but because I am fascinated by his work. He could have been a successful writer had he not become a business manager. He is a master storyteller. In the world of business, storytelling is not a skill that is particularly envied. The expression has pejorative undertones and suggests tall tales and fiction rather than fact. But Harish's kind of storytelling actually plays a valuable role in business. How do you assemble solid facts and incidents, often mundane when they occurred, into a narrative that interests the reader and leaves him or her with an overarching message? That is the art at the heart of corporate storytelling, and Harish does it very well. Stories and narratives are at the heart of human evolution. Every region and society has its storytellers and related traditions. There are the Berbers of Jama Alfina in Marrakesh, the Harikatha speakers of Tamil Nadu, and the Jatra performers of Bengal, not to forget the tradition of the troubadours, bards, and minstrels in Europe. The stories accumulate and become modern symbols of a social community. What would Egypt be without the story of Osiris? Greece without Prometheus? Or India without Vaishampayana's masterly dictation of the story of the Mahabharata to the scribe Ganpati? Stories and anecdotes have evolved and come to represent the distinctiveness of a society and the culture of its people. In his celebrated book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, the mythologist Joseph Campbell expounded the startling theory of the monomyth, showing that ancient stories from around the world are based on a standard structure and are made up of similar elements. Campbell identified 17 stages in the development of all stories. He categorized these into 3 sections: the hero's departure, initiation, and return. Departure involves a hero venturing forth from a common world into a supernatural world. Example, Rama's departure into Dandakaranya. Initiation details the myriad challenges faced by the hero, which he overcomes to emerge victorious. Example, Rama's travails in the forest and in Lanka. Return deals with the hero coming back from his mysterious adventures with great and newly acquired powers to benefit other people. Example, Rama's triumphal return to Ayodhya and his coronation. You can see the same pattern in every legendary story from every land: Yudhishthira, Ulysses, Gautam Buddha. The same patterns appear in the historical stories of the world wars and the colonization and subsequent independence of India. So why would they not apply to the story of a corporation? Harish has deployed these principles and concepts in an impressive way. He has done so with what one could consider fairly mundane events that were encountered by a company. However, the organization happens to be a long-living corporation, which Harish refers to as a timeless institution. The Tata organization began almost 1.5 centuries ago and has had only 4 chairmen before Ratan Tata. Since the average life of Fortune 500 companies is under 40 years, the very fact of long-lived and calibrated continuity makes Tata an interesting subject of study. Is there a secret sauce to its long life? How did it change and adapt from the Victorian era to the information era? In his celebrated book about long-life companies, The Living Company, author Ari de Geus identified 4 Ds that are key to longevity: developing an intense sensitivity to the environment, displaying a cohesive purpose and identity, demonstrating tolerance to diverse views, deploying finance conservatively. Perhaps many, or all of these characteristics apply to Tata. Many of the early stories of Tata have been memorably captured by Rusi Lala in his widely read and masterful books, The Creation of Wealth and For the Love of India. Lala narrated stories about Jamshedji Tata's dogged determination to envision and execute nationally relevant projects. There was restlessness in the founder, who desperately wanted to build human capabilities through education and science. He and his successors persisted with public advocacy to do what is right for the nation, as expressed through the encounters with the Lord Curzon and Pandit Nehru. And lastly, collaborated after independence with other industry doyens of the time to write the Bombay Plan. Several Tata directors provided public service leadership. Ghulam Muhammad became the first finance minister of Pakistan, John Mathai became the second finance minister of India, and Nani Palkhiwala became the de facto Indian finance minister, though he never formally became one. The examples are inspiring. What Harish has captured is a subaltern's view of the post-liberalization decades, from 1991 to date. He writes with candor about dreams, challenges, dilemmas, failures and successes. The dogged persistence reflected in the Tata Indica story, the recovery from the depths of the Tata Finance debacle, the imaginative development of the EKA, which was most likely the world's first privately funded supercomputer. All these and many more appear in the pages of this book. All of these are told with the formula of departure, initiation, and return of the hero, who in this case is a corporation rather than a person. Tatalog is commendable as a work of corporate history through storytelling, as a personal view of history, and finally, as an act of love for a timeless institution. Mumbai, 26 September 2012. R. Gopalakrishnan. A path well paved. It is not getting to the top of Everest that matters in life. It is how and why you get there. Lord Hunt, who led the first successful expedition to Mount Everest. Ratan Tata talks about a voyage. You can hear a pin drop when stories of great voyages are narrated by the captain of the ship. Ratan Tata, chairman of the Tata Group of Companies, stood up to speak at the Crystal Room in the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai in February 2012. Over 100 senior Tata managers eagerly listened to him describe how the Tata Group had achieved its revenue target of $100 billion in 2011, up tenfold from $10 billion in 2002. This made it the largest Indian enterprise, well ahead of the other industrial groups in the country. Amazingly, 60% of group revenues were now derived from markets situated beyond India's borders, signifying the global spread of the Tata Group. It had also become one of the most visible conglomerates in the world, with over 90 companies engaged in widely different businesses, ranging from salt to wristwatches to cars. The managers listened with rapt attention as Ratan Tata highlighted some of the notable achievements of the Tata Group over the past few years. It was a list that promised to make any corporate entity blush with pride. It had path-breaking innovations, such as the nano car and the low-cost Tata Swachh water purifier. Then came the gigantic global acquisitions like Chorus, Jaguar, Land Rover and Tetley. Ratan Tata also mentioned India's largest information and technology, IT company, Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, and a clutch of companies that formed the country's second largest organized retailing business. Early moves in new age sectors such as aerospace and financial services were showcased. Looking ahead, there was brief mention of the establishment of a new Tata Medical Center and Cancer Hospital in Kolkata, at a substantial investment of $70 million. He ended his address with, "Think big, lead, never follow." This was the last time Ratan Tata would speak as chairman at the annual group management meeting of the Tata Group. 21 years earlier, in March 1991, the legendary J.R.D. Tata had stepped down as chairman of the Tata Group. He had personally selected Ratan Tata to lead the group into the 21st century. In December 2012, on reaching the retirement age of 75 years, Ratan Tata would hand over his role to 43-year-old Cyrus Mistry, who had been selected as his successor by the board of Tata Sons. Introducing Cyrus Mistry, Ratan Tata told his managers, "Don't be fooled by his quiet demeanor. He is his own person, knows where he wants to be. I feel confident that he will lead the group in a manner that is of the highest integrity. Cyrus is the right person for the job. I welcome him." 150 years of the Tata Group. Over 150 years ago, In 1868, the founder and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?